welcome back to the channel. It is the 9th of February 2017, the time is 2:45 and we're looking at two vastly different races today. First of all, the 3-year-old only race at Lingfield over mile 2, and then the more competitive older horse handicap over 6 furlongs at Chelmsford City, and that race is due off at 7:30. So let's concentrate first of all on race number 1, the 4:15 at Lingfield, and you can see we have made a trade on Olympic Legend at 50, more or less 55, and laid it off at 43, and the price has, since we laid it off, just gradually gone back up towards 70 and 80, and the high price has been 80. So we're looking again to trade a little bit of amount on at these high prices. Now I'm not going in with the full stake because, one, the form of Olympic Legend doesn't add up to anything particularly great, and we are getting a high price, so any difference in the back and lay is going to be quite big, and we can just play around with £2 on Olympic Legend round about this price. Now the other horse in the race that we have just had our alert taken for is Oberyn, and that one is stepping up in class from a class 6 to a class 5, and it's quite short still in the price, so I'm not looking to run in all guns blazing on Oberyn because it is stepping up in class. The other thing to remember on this race is that these are early year 3-year-olds, so they don't have a lot of form to go on, and the only two in the race that have run over the distance is Global Revival and Olympic Legend. These are the only two, and Global Revival finished 2nd of 4 in a handicap, and Olympic Legend in the same race finished 4th of 4, and Global Revival beat Olympic Legend by 4 lengths. Now over a mile and a quarter, that's not a massive beating from one horse to another, and 5.9 as opposed to 65, 70, 75 when they are pretty much unexposed 3-year-olds is, in my opinion, too great. So Global Revival 5.9, it's not got bad form, probably deserves to be around about 5.96, something like that. Oberyn up in class, again deserves to be about 15.5, and Malarkey, another one that's stepping up in class and in distance. I'm just clicking on Malarkey's form next to me. That one has run over 7 furlongs last time out, and then 8 furlongs the time before that. Last time out it was in a class 4, so it's a better race than today in fact, but it was 7 furlongs, and there's no indication that it's going to stay this extra 3 furlongs. In fact, the time before that it ran over 8 furlongs in a class 5, which is same today, and finished 12th of 14, beaten 4.5 lengths Washington Blue. So your guess is as good as mine as to how Malarkey will perform in this mile and a quarter race. We've looked at Oberyn, that's won class 6 races, and that has been over 8 furlongs and 7 furlongs, so again a big step up in class and distance for that one. Global Revival last time out over course and distance 2nd of 4, beaten half length by Poetic Force. So those are the horses form for the bottom 4. Now the top 2, African Beat has run over 8 furlongs in this class, beaten 1 3/4 lengths in its last race, 1 3/4 lengths in the time before that, and has been pretty consistent in its last 5 races, 2 of them maidens and 3 of them handicaps. And 6 to 4 is a bit short about a horse that, although it's trained by John Gosden, has been beaten in its last 3 handicap races, and today steps up 2 furlongs to contest this class 5 event. Now Hutchfield or Hatchfeld is another one that's been running over, well, 8.5 furlongs to be exact, and the class 3 handicap last time out, beaten 3 3/4 lengths by M&M. So that one's stepping up a furlong and a half, but it is dropping in class from a class 3 to class 5. So that one is obviously the one that's been running in the better races, and that is the second favourite, round about 9 to 4. That's the top price with the bookmakers, and you can see the price on the exchanges, as we discussed in the last video, is roughly the same as that price. And African Beat 6-4 top price with the bookmakers, and round about 6-4 with the exchanges. So like we said, there are very little discrepancies in the favourites on the exchanges and with the bookmakers. The discrepancies will come with the outsiders. So let's have a look at Global Revival. That's the third favourite. Bookmakers top price is 5-1, and it's trading at 5-1 here. So that's the first three in the betting, and they're all quite short price. Now Oberyn is top price 9-1 with the bookmakers, more of a 14-1 shot on the exchanges. And Malarkey, that one is 16-1 with the bookmakers, 17 on here. But the big discrepancy is Olympic Legend. That is 40-1 top price and is now 70 with the bookmakers, and possibly could go a little bit higher. But if you look at the betting forecast, then African Beat 13-8, Hotchfield 11-4, Global Revival 7-2, Oberyn 6-1. So those three were fairly accurate. Oberyn 6-1 in the forecast, now 14. So that's a big difference between the forecast price and the exchanges price. And Malarkey on the forecast was 12-1, and that one is 18.5, and that was as high as 24. So again, about 50% difference between the forecast price and the high price, and that's obviously gone up quite a lot out in the betting, and that's possibly because it's up in class, Oberyn. And Olympic Legend on the forecast was as 16-1 shot, and you can see what I was saying about the outsiders. Sometimes the forecast getting it drastically wrong, and this is another example of it. The outsider of the field, Olympic Legend, 16-1 in the betting forecast. On the exchanges, been as high as 80. So the favourites quite secure. These outsiders more fluctuate from the betting forecast prices. So we are looking at Olympic Legend, and I think 80 would be a decent starting point. Don't forget it only got beat 4.5 lengths by Global Revival over 1.25 miles, and things could be different. Maybe Olympic Legend will be ridden differently, maybe Global Revival won't run up to its form, and these other two are stepping up in distance. So yes, we are taking a pot shot at a big outsider. Its form doesn't add up to much, but it really shouldn't be 75-80-1 in a 6-runner field of relatively unexposed 3-year-olds. The next race we're going to look at is the 7:30 at Chelmsford, and you can see we have made a few trades on this one. Now the interesting one in the race is Zach Brown, and that's the one we traded on. And last night the forecast suggested that Zach Brown would be a 12-1 shot, and as discussed in a previous video, exchanges prices more or less always go above what the forecast price is. Now that, in my opinion, was a little bit of a daft price for Zach Brown. 12-1 with the bookmakers was bad enough, but going up to 15.5, 16 on the exchanges was a bit of a mistake by the layers, in my opinion. So we took advantage of that. We put some money on. There wasn't much money knocking about, but we did take the 15.5. Obviously Bosham has come out since then, so we did take the house a little bit higher than that, and we traded it off a bit lower down. Now in hindsight the price has come down to 6.4, so we could have waited a bit more, but we locked in the profit. That was fine at the time. That's what we decided, and we were okay with that, and we hedged the market. And we've since made a trade on Outrage, who's gone from just about 8 up to 16, and again we got a decent price, more or less the top of the range for Outrage at 15.75, and we just traded that off at 14. We weren't that bothered about building up a big hedging percentage on that, so we just took that price and we laid that off, and it's not much different now, 13.5. And the other one we looked at was Guishan, which again is an outsider, but it has decent form, and it finished a good second or third. I can't remember whether it was second or third. I think it was second last time out. I'll just check that on the laptop. If I just put up the 7:30 at Chelmsford, and we can give you the accurate reading on that one. So Guishan actually 4th last time out at Southall, and if I just put that up, that was a class 3 event. This is a class 3 event as well, and that was over 5 furlongs, and some of its best performances have come over this course and distance, and it was only beaten 3/4 of a length by Raising Hell last time out. And previous to that, run at Chelmsford, beaten 3 lengths by Encore Door, which is a pretty decent animal on its day, and it's been running in class 3, class 2 races. So 60-1 for Guishan on the back of a decent run at Southall is pretty good value, and we took that price at 60 and we laid that off at 44. So we've got the potential profit on Guishan locked in at 33.8. Outrage is at 9.06, and we've hedged the market on Zach Brown to get at least some profit on the race. So as it stands at the moment, we've got a profit of £1.2 on that race, and we've got a global profit. If you look at the green up here on the market and API status, that gives you the hedging price for all runners in the race. So you can see we've got Zach Brown, Outrage and Guishan. So if we click this button here, then that would just hedge all the runners in the race and give us a locked in profit, guaranteed profit of £3.48. And if we add that to the £1 and 2, then we're up to £4, more or less £4.50. And don't forget, we're playing for £5 stakes, and the target, if you go back to the banks, is £5. So we're almost, if we hedged everything, we're only 50p off the target for today's racing. And you can see the price going up on Olympic Legend back up towards 80, 85. So it is worth just keeping an eye on that one as we go along. So that's our thinking behind the races: the 4:15 at Lingfield, the 3-year-old handicap, and the more competitive older horse and better class handicap at Chelmsford. So we're going to leave it a few, maybe about half an hour to an hour, see if we can get some more trades on Olympic Legend at these bigger prices, see what happens in this market. There's nothing that's going out of the ordinary so far. Guishan might go back up to 60. If we can get it back up at 60, then that would be great, and we'll do a few more trades on that, and then we have a decision to make whether we leave the money in with Guishan, we hedge the market on Guishan and Outrage, or we lay these two in running. So that's the state of affairs. We'll come back in a little while. So we did manage to make one more trade on Olympic Legend just for £1 and a bit. Just took the 80 and then it rapidly went down to 48. So we didn't get the full bet taken, and then the price just shot down, and it's gradually been building its way back up. So we might get a few more trades in before the off. We're still about half an hour away, 35 minutes in fact, away from the start of the race. And we've got a little bit of opposition coming in at 60, £15 on the lay side, not much on the bet side, so there is a possibility that it could go back up to its tradable mark round about 80. And as we get closer to post time, we need to be a little bit more careful as to the fluctuations. So this price could go 80, it could go up to 100, 120. So we'll just have to keep an eye on it and be a little bit flexible with our planning of trades. Over on this side, we've still got Guishan at 44. That's hopefully going to go back up to 60. We've put a few in there, 60, 65, 70. We don't need to be putting too much in stake wise to get up to our target profit, and if we can get up to that, then we'll let some of this money ride on Guishan, and certainly let the money ride on Outrage. So we're coming up to the cut-off point 5 minutes before the race. However, we have got a locked-in profit of £2, which means we can, if we wanted to, do some free trading. So for example, if I wanted to put another bet in at 80 and I put that over the 80 position, then you can see that we still wouldn't lose on the race even if I put the £2 bet in. So that could go in at 80 if it went back up that high, and we would have £152 potential profit on Olympic Legend, and we could lay that off before the race, or we could lay it off in running. That would be your choice. If the price doesn't go back up to 80, then we can just leave that in and take profit on the race, which, don't forget, is about 40% of
I'm
our
out of here, man.
target profit at this level. And the price is going right back up now. You can see the money coming in at 60, 110, and some money now being taken. As soon as that 5-minute marker hit, we see the big money coming in, and the prices just fluctuate incredibly rapidly. And it is a dodgy time if you're just learning to trade, doing trading inside that 5 minutes. But if you are in a position like we are in here, we can do a little bit of trading if we wanted to. And the market is pushing up 75, might well go through the 80, could go a little bit higher. What we're looking for here is a position where there's plenty of money coming in on the right and not a lot of money on the left. So still a bit of money here at 75. We don't need to play, don't forget, we've already locked in the profit. This would just be a bonus if we did play, to try and win a little bit more at no risk. And you can see the market pushing up towards 80. 3.5 minutes left, so we still have time to trade if we needed to, or if we wanted to. And I think we'll just put that in at 80. It should get quickly taken, and then we can try and lay that off at 75. So most of it's been taken.
Fully matched.
It has been taken now. We put the trade in at 80. Market's pushed through 80. It's going higher. I'm not going to put any more money in because that would mean we'd be into loss marking. So we're looking to push that down now to 75. And there is still opposition here at 80. So it would need to get through that barrier. And we're about 3 minutes away from post time. You can see the price now going up to 100. Money coming back in at 100. Trying to push the price back down again. You can see the massive fluctuations there, and the price now coming back down towards our 75. So we might be able to lay it off, we may not be able to. Just watching the market. We've still got about 2.5 minutes left, and we can always edge out of the market again if we wanted to. But the price is in at 75. I'm going to put that. I'm just going to wait a minute and we maybe put it in and running and hope the price gets taken. It is a 1 mile 2 race, don't forget. So the odds of it coming down to 75 are reasonable. Now we've got big money coming in at 110, 100. Plenty of money on both sides. Still going up round about 100. Every time the market pushes down, this side pushes up against it. So it's looking like the horse is drifting quite badly before the race. And it's coming in again now, down to 90, 85. About a minute from race time. Most of the money still hovering around about 90. And I'm actually going to put that in running, so that if it doesn't get taken before the race, hopefully it will get taken once the race starts. And that just gives it a little bit more money in running. It's about 40 seconds to post time. I could put that 2 back in at 80. We remember we backed it at 80. So we could put that 2 back in at 80 if we wanted to, just to level things up. And that would lock in the £2 profit, remember. But it is a 10 furlong race. It's not a sprint where things happen very quickly. going back up 90.95. We're now past post time. Don't forget, I've put that in play keep.
Sucker.
And the race is off. Now hopefully that will get taken in running. Like I say, we are over 10 furlongs, so the chances are it will do. So here is about 6 furlong marker, and then we've got 3 furlong marker here, and about the furlong marker running round about here. Price still hovering round about 90, 95, 100. Just sorting the positions out in the race. So don't take any notice of these early exchanges. The horses are running more or less on the bridle, other than possibly running on the bridle at this stage. And we have seen in the past that prices can go out to 150, 160 in running and still come in and win. So we've still got about 6 furlongs left. Remember, we can cash out at any time here. £1.81 or £1.72.
Fully
and
matched.
That's it's taken. So we've got a little bit of money on Olympic Legends. Not likely to win. We've got the £2 locked in. It was likely that the price would get taken because of the long distance race. So don't be afraid to, play and running on these long distance races. You could even trade a couple of times. So we could have traded at 110. We could have traded at 110 and then got out at 70, and that would lock in quite a bit more profit. So the price is about 55, 70, 46. We're coming to the end of the race, so we doesn't look like Olympic Legends going to get anywhere near. And African Beat and Global Revival, the one with the form over this distance, has won the race. And Olympic Legend was only beaten 4 lengths by it last time out. So at the prices, Olympic Legend didn't seem that bad, but Global Revival has won. These unproven over the distance, African Beat, Hochfeld, Oberyn and Malarkey, all unproven over the distance. That was the only one over 10 furlongs, and that was the one that won the race. So we'll take that profit and we'll move into the race at Chelmsford City a little bit later on. So what we're going to do in this race, we're going to look at adding value to the already locked in profit. You can see we've got some profit up here that's already guaranteed, £2.26. So we have that amount to play with on any of the horses, and we can try and trade a few times with that money. So for example, if I put £2 on Guishan at 60, you can see as before we're not actually losing money on the race. And if we trade at 60 and then we can lay off at 50, we'll be adding £20 onto the potential profit for Guishan. If we can do that a few times, then we can build up a real good potential profit on Guishan going into the race. So that's the plan of action for this 7:30 at Chelmsford. We know we've won on the day, and this is just add a little bit more to what we've already got, and we're going to be doing that with no risk, because obviously we're not going to be losing on the race. So the £2 at 60 or 65, 70, depending on how the market goes. So if we get plenty of money on this side and not a lot on this side, we'll just wait for the market to go higher, and if it's starting to even out round about 60, 65, then we'll start this added value trade. Now it is a good ploy to use if you've got some kind of money. For example, if you've got £10 locked in, then you can use maybe £2, £4, even £6 or £8 of the money that you've locked in to just trade away on these outsiders. So we're about 25 minutes away now from the post time, and you can see the price getting up to 50, but we do want it to go up to 60, mainly because we want the split to be 10 instead of the 4. So if we took in at 50, we'd get the 4 at 46, and that would give us an £8 increase on Guishan's price at 33.80. But if we did get in at 60 and we laid that off at 50, then we get an extra £20 for doing more or less the same thing. So the target is 60, and if the market is pushing up strongly on this side, we can even wait to 65.70. So the market is quite strong on this side, but we'll put it in at 65 and then we'll try and lay it off at 60, and then just be manoeuvring our prices around, see which way the market wants to go. So we've got the 65, we'll put it in at 60, and we might put another one or two up here, but we are hopeful of getting the 60 taken. I mean, we could put that in at 55 and get the 2 ticks from 65, but it's more likely that we're going to get the 60 taken than the 55, so let's put that in and then just follow the market where it leads. We're still about 20 minutes away from post time, and you can see the price is pushed up now to 75, so our 65 is, I wouldn't say the wrong decision, but we made a decision at 65 and the market has pushed through that and now gone up towards 80, 85. So we have to make a decision whether we want to put some more money in at 80 and feel that the market is going to push down again. So you can see it's gone to 80. Still think that's pretty good value. So I'm going to put another £2 in at 80. And then we'll put that, when that gets taken, we'll put the £2 in at 70. And we could move that up to 65. So that's taken at 80. I'm going to put that in at 70. And I'm going to move the £2 up to what it was originally at 65. So we still got the 10 take, but we had to do 2 bets to get there. And I'm going to put another £2 in at 90, because we've got this back up here at 62 and 26, so getting that taken at 90 is pretty good as well. And we're going to put that in at 75. So even though we've used up quite a lot of the initial hedged fund, in fact we've gone over the hedge fund, we're still getting a very, very good price at 90, and I think that was worthwhile doing that, because we should be able to lay this money off and add a lot more value to Guishan. So the price 75 has been taken, and we're not in a bad position now with regards to the other two. We can put some more money in at 85 if we wanted to. That would be a reasonable assumption to do, thing to do at this stage. The price has gone quite high, and I think there's definitely overvalue in 80, 85, 90. And you can see the bets are being taken at 70 now, and it shouldn't be too long before we get that bet taken at 70, and then we can put the £2 back in maybe at 80. And if you look at the hedge price, we're not really putting ourselves at risk. We're still in green 0.29, so we can cash out and still have £2.50 and some money going on to outrage. So this is as close as you can get to risk-free trading.
Fully matched.
And that's been taken, and now we'll put that money back in at 80. We'll take the other bits out. This should get taken at 65, and that's got taken, so we've got £2.94 hedged in the market, and we've still got this £21.27 on Guishan. We'll try and do a little bit more. We've got 13 minutes to trade, so we might, with a bit of luck, just get a few more trades in. And we're getting up to the point now where we are actually at our profit target for the day, with a potential on Guishan
fully
outrage
matched
to increase that a little bit further. And you can see that got taken at 80. We can put that in at
fully
75.
matched.
That adds a little bit more to Guishan. Put that back in at 80. So all the while we're just adding to the hedge profit and the market on Guishan. When we get the hedge over £3, then we're going to just concentrate on Guishan, maybe put a little bit more on outrage at the bigger prices. If you notice, I'm not doing anything drastic. I'm not going from 80 to 60 or 80 to 55. I'm just taking it nice and slow. I'm going from 80 either to 75 or 70, depending on whether I think the market will go back down to that price. So if that gets taken at 80, my first thought would be to lay it off at 75 or possibly 70. And that's been taken at 80, so it's gone straight back down to 75. I'm going to put it in at 70 because that's reasonable now to assume that that's going to get taken. You can see we do have a little bit of money at 75, and if that starts to move down to 0, we might just take that, but we can leave it in there for the moment. So we've done quite a few trades just doing this scalping method on Guishan, one of the outsiders, for little stakes, but the profit is building up all the time.
Fully matched.
And that's been taken as well. So we've now got £49 on that. We've got £9 on Outrage, and we've got a locked-in profit of £2.94. So we can still do a few more. We've got 10 minutes of trading time left. I'm going to put it back in at 80. And we're just going to keep doing that kind of trading, 80, 75, 70, and see what we can come up with at the 5-minute mark. So you can now see we've got hedge money, a guaranteed profit of £3 in the race, and we can, if we wanted to, now change that to £3. So we're adding value again with the locked in profit. We'll keep it at £2 for now, but you could, if you wanted to, just start with the £3, because that would give you, if I just put that up, if we played with the £3 at 80, then that would still give us no loss on the race, even if that got taken and we couldn't lay it off. We'd still have Guishan in running and we wouldn't be losing on the race. So once your hedging goes up a little bit, then you can change this stake here to a higher amount. And we're now getting down to 7.5 minutes before the race. The price has come into 50 for Guishan, so it doesn't look like we're going to be trading any further on that race. So I'm going to take the money out. Just right click to make sure you've got no money left in, and then what we're going to do, we're going to trade Guishan in running to add a little bit more if we can. So we've added value to the race using the profit, and now we've got a decent position where we're going to win on the race, and with the money we made before, we're going to hit the target for the day. And we've also got Outrage, it'll give us a little bit more money, and Guishan, we're going to lay it in running to see if we can win a little bit more as well. So we're going to put this in at 5, and what we're going to do, we're going to trade it for maybe £8 at 5, and that will give us a profit of just over £10 on the race, with a bit more if Guishan wins and a bit more if Outrage wins. So put that in and right click, in play keep, and that will be more or less it for the trading on this race. And if we wanted to hedge the market on this race, we can click the global hedging, and that would give us a profit on the race of £4.48, and added to the other money we'd be well over the target profit for the day. And you can see the price of Guishan now coming in at 36.42, so the price at 80 was a bit of a steal in terms of Guishan's chance in the race and what the price should have been in reality. This is more its reality price of 40. And as usual, we've got some pretty good changes in the market as the race nears. Let's have a look at Quatrium Ami. So that one's gone right out, and it drifted out pretty quickly in the last few minutes. And also El Jadaf, that one's drifted out pretty badly from 4 to 9. Now what's been backed in? Boomerang Bob certainly attracted money. Zach Brown, early money, and then it's just levelled off, so that's a reasonable price. And
I'm out of here, man.
Has also attracted a bit of money, and King Robert, that one has come in after drifting out. So that's the state of affair. I'll just switch across these, then you can see the graphs on the right hand side. And Shamshon on that far side as well. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to leave that in the market, see what we can do laying and running, and whatever the outcome, we've had a profitable day, so that's going to be just about it. We're about 4 minutes away from the post time. So we're now at post time, and Guishan has drifted back out to 60, 65, 70. We're not going to play late because we're right on the post time, so it's not going to be worthwhile. We've already done the trades. We did that before the 5 minute mark, and we cut that off when the market started getting a little bit too volatile. That's it.
Sucker.
6 furlong race, 3 furlong marker is about here. Guishan coming into 38 already, 32.30, so it looks like it might be running up with the pace. So we'll just see if we can get down to our price of 5. We've gone down to 15.5, 13, 12, 11, 10, back up to 20. And I'm going to hedge out there.
Fully matched.
At that price. Might get down to 5, might not. I'm happy with the price that it came to in running. Came down to 6.8, 6.4, hasn't reached 5 yet. 6.5, it reached 5.1 there, and it's gone back out pretty smartly. Outrage is beaten. Guishan ran a good race. Boomerang Bob, the favourite, has won it, and we've won £6 on the race. So I didn't wait till the 5 marker because I didn't think it'd get there. I think it maybe just reached the 5. So if we'd have had left it in, we would have won a little bit more. But we've won enough on the race. It would have been very lucky to have reached 5 and taken our money. So that's the end of today's tutorials. Hope you found them interesting, and join us for the next one.